Hello. So this time, first of all, I going to apologise for missing a week, but I was pretty much unable to do much last Friday, so that was a fun Valentine's Day. But it got me thinking about illness, in particular, not physical illness, but mental illness, which covers a number of different things, such as mood disorders, personality disorders, and such like. So it is quite interesting to me for my own, or from my own experience. And the fact of the matter sort of being that oftentimes people don't see mental illness in the same light as a physical illness, which is quite unusual, because really the two are probably more interlinked than most people would believe or claim. So it can be very difficult to be taken seriously for many people who are affected. That's both individual, I don't like the word sufferers, but for efficiency and understanding, then I think that's the best term to use. So yeah, it can be very difficult for sufferers to be taken seriously, like I say. And it's one of those big things that I think needs to be challenged, because frankly we all have psychology, as it were. We all have a personality, an us, if you like, that isn't necessarily just the physical self. I mean, there's a whole probably philosophical standpoint that could be investigated further with regards to what is the soul and personality and how they might link, but that could go for ages, and frankly I'm not feeling like doing that right now. As I say, what I'm mainly thinking about is the fact that if you walk into a room with a cast on, someone will probably go, "Oh, what did you do?" Now walk into that same room and suddenly break down crying. Some people will just go, "Oh, what's up?" Some will go, attention seeking. Some just won't even bat an eyelid. Yet pretty much everyone will go, "Oh, what have you done?" Or at least go, "Oh, what's that?" They won't think it's attention seeking. They won't ignore it. It's very weird, but they're technically the same thing. It's an ailment, that is affecting one's daily life. You break your arm, you can't wash yourself probably as well, for argument's sake. But in the throes of severe depression or some behavioural or personality disorders, you can wash yourself, but you can't be bothered. It's not fulfilling. It doesn't feel like there's any point to it, and all those kind of things. So there can be a lot of weird overlaps and similarities, yet, as I say, people treat them very differently. So it's, there's lots of campaigns out there about sort of being aware, perhaps, that more people are probably affected by things than people generally realise. Hell, some people are even affected by things and they don't even think there's something wrong. There are a number of personality disorders that kind of affect people in massive ways of how they live their life, but in most cases the people with those disorders, who would be diagnosed as such if they came forward, don't see it as a problem. For example, people with actually obsessive personality disorders or obsessive compulsive personality disorders, very different to just normal OCD, will pretty much live their life by a very set routine, and disturbing that routine, a bit annoying, but but it is you probably know someone, if you think hard enough, who has everything exactly mapped out on every day of their lives, pretty much. Very, very infrequent chances of spontaneity. And these people would probably be OCPD sufferers, or whatever you want to use. But they generally think, well, I know what I'm doing, I know when I'm doing it, I'm quite happy with how things are progressing, as long as things don't drastically mess my plans up, everything's hunky-dory. So you're not going to go and seek help in that instance. It would just be unusual, because in that mindset you don't need external help. If anything, you probably think it'd mess up more than it would help, because you'd have to learn a whole new method of things, and you've already got your plans, you've already got it set, it's beautiful. Whereas, you know, there's stuff on the other spectrums of things. I mean, there's plenty of resources out there on the various personality disorders and mood disorders, learning difficulties, you know, anything that affects people in either just you know, sort of a mental way, to use that word, or, you know, or sometimes in tandem with physical elements, because the two are definitely interlinked. You think about, you know, sort of if you've had, say, a long-term illness, or, you know, going back to the earlier example, any broken bones or anything like that, you kind of feel down. Your emotional well-being suffers. Quite straightforward. Likewise, sometimes you can feel a bit down, you go on a crazy bender to try and make yourself feel better, and you end up in hospital with something broken. The two can intertwine, and that's just simplified, because, you know, this is for everyone. It's not, you know, the National Psychiatry Association or something, if such a thing exists. You know, it's something everyone can grasp. So the links are probably a lot more nuanced. Well, definitely a lot more nuanced than that. And it's not just, obviously, nice and cut and dry, because most psychological and psychiatric issues are still very much under debate, even the ones that seem to be set in stone. This is what this is, this is what this is, because the full understanding of the human brain is years off, really. So diagnoses that are correct as of now may be entirely different in a year or a month even, as new research comes out. So, you know, when you're sort of thinking about, you know, mental illnesses and things like that, don't just assume that everyone is the crazy guy in the horror film. I think that's really the core of what I'm trying to get at. You know, a mental illness can be a number of things. And it's actually a small number of people who are those psychopathic types. You know, all these, you know, kind of are you a psychopath tests are just, if anything, furthering that, I would say. And to be honest, you know, those psychopathic or antisocial personality disorder, to really sort of put one of those to those traits, I guess, you know, is a rarity, and they're easy to spot because they're extremely false and overly charming and a bit strange. So it's quite easy to identify them. But not all manifest in the same way, not all manifest to the same scale even. So it's never as simple as it looks. Everyone probably has a little touch of something. And at some point in your life, even if you've been fine, you might find yourself affected. Or people you know really well. So just think a little on that. And, you know, if you are worried about any issues, go and seek help. Don't just leave it rotting, because that's the worst thing you can do, trust me. But yeah, so, you know, stay safe, look after yourselves, and I will see you hopefully next week, unless I get a relapse. Take care.